Hi guys, it's Nancy. Welcome back to my channel. We are going to be playing with another Blue Night rubber stamps today. This is called Dancing in the Rain. You have this cute little girl hanging out in her galoshes, right? Is that what they call the rain boots? Having some fun. And I did watercolor this on watercolor card and use some watercolor markers and color it. So I had some fun with that, but I thought, wouldn't it be fun to make kind of a rainbow scene with some pan pastels? So let's see if I can duplicate that. I do have various pan pastels out. I've already stamped the image out on some 5.5 by 4 1/4 white cardstock, and I stamped it with the Catherine Pooler Midnight ink. And let's get into, I think, coloring the background first, and then we'll color into the smaller images. So let me bring in some bright pan pastels here. You can pick up some of these colors from Blue Night Rubber Stamps. Some of them I have in my own collection. So. And then I have these little Jane Davenport baton blenders. They have these white tips. These black ones I picked up in the craft section of Hobby Lobby. I have some makeup blenders, and I have some of the soft tools as well. So use what you have. I'm going to go in with some bright red here. This is called Permanent Red. It's a very bright red. So kind of want it to look like, you know, like she's out there playing in the rain, and maybe there's a little bit of a rainbow starting to appear. So I know this is going to be pretty bright. Let me take some of that off of there. Here we go. And then I will try to kind of fade or smooth this out. We'll use some Colorless Blender on here. And then all you do to clean your tools is just take some paper towel and wipe them off. Even though they're stained, they will be pretty clean, and you can go in with the next color, which I'm going to use some orange. And again, we'll go in with some Colorless Blender and kind of smooth those out and blend them together. Because this cardstock is a little bigger as well, we'll be able to cut it down to more card front size when we're done. We're going some Dyerlide yellow. I'm going to try to go around the umbrella. Although if I get some on the umbrella, it's not going to hurt anything because we'll just use an eraser to erase it. We need some bright green and some blue. And I think that will be pretty good here. Oh, that might be too green. That might be a little too green. We might have to blend that one out. Okay, and then we're going to add some bright blue, which I think this is ultramarine. that looks pretty good. So the blue was called, yeah, ultramarine blue. The greens were a combination of Hansa yellow shade and chromium oxide green. And then the yellow was diary light yellow. And I don't know if we can put a smidgen of violet in here. All right, so then we'll go in with the Colorless Blender and kind of clean that up a little bit in a little bit. All right, so then for the other areas, I'm going to do real quick coloring. And then we'll go in with some color pencils to clean it up. So for her umbrella, I think I want to use a nice bright magenta. Kind of fun to actually paper pierce some polka dot paper on that umbrella. I think would look cool too. Maybe I'll do that after the fact. And then I want that same color magenta in her boots. All right. So everything else is still kind of small. I'm going to use the color pencils. I'm going to do a little bit of the ground. With some Payne's gray. We have Payne's gray, tint, and neutral gray. Let me try the Payne's gray first. That's perfect. Okay, so we're going to use that. Go in our little muddy puddle here. Kind of the whole thing is going to be gray. All right. And then for the smaller areas, I'm going to bring in my Stabilo Carbothello chalk pencils. And we're just going to go in and color. Don't worry too much about the details because a lot of it, when we go to stamp over it, the ink is going to cover up. Not worrying too much about shading and such, because again, when we stamp over it, a lot of this is going to get, it's going to get covered up with the ink. So the artist has already drawn all of those cool, fun designs. Let's give her a purple shirt. So even though it's a rainy scene, it's very nice and bright and colorful. Now you will need to use a fixative when you are done here, so I would recommend spraying like some Krylon clear spray, which is basically clear spray paint. Some people use hairspray. I don't recommend the hairspray because the hairspray is not acid free, which could cause your colors to eventually fade or yellow. So I'm just going back in with my blending tool and smoothing out this little shadowing I put in here. And then I just take a look at it, and anywhere that I don't think it's smooth or cleaned up, we want to clean it up. And I'm going to bring in the Colorless Blender. I do have a little bit on her face here I want to clean up. Anywhere that I went outside the lines, just going to clean that up a little. So the Colorless Blender you purchase separately, and the Colorless Blender does exactly that, is it kind of takes all of the colors and smooths them out and blends them together. So I'm going to take a little sponge tool here, a nice clean one. Take a little bit of that Colorless Blender, and I'm going to kind of just pull it across my colors, and you'll see that they'll kind of even out. So they're not so obnoxious. This is a nice smooth transition. I gotta be careful in here. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna use a little bit down here as well on the ground just to smooth that out. And then I think for the top up here I'm going to add a little bit of the do a little bit of light blue just to give the sky some color, or actually some light pink would look nice. Let's see here. Yeah, that looks good. That's a very light pink. It's called Magenta Tint. Just to give us some color in the background. All right, so there I just smeared her jacket. That's where the eraser comes in handy. That's what I like about using these pan pastels, is if you make a mistake like that, you just erase it and it goes away. Wonderfully bright, fun scene. And then we're just going to stamp over it. So we're going to bring our lid back in. And we're going to re-ink with our Midnight ink. And my handy dandy Blue Night rubber stamps handle on the back. And there we go. So we have our watercolored scene. And now we have our pan pastel scene. So lots of fun coloring these images. Let me know which one you like better. Do you like the rainbow scene or do you like the watercolored rainy scene? If you have any questions, post them down below. I will link all of the materials that I use down in the description box. Thanks for watching, guys, and keep on stamping. Bye-bye.